Hi, my name's Karen Ward. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and this is my introductory video about the background to myself, about why I wish to teach English abroad, and about my views on classroom management. So firstly, why Turkey? I've travelled quite a bit in Europe, and Turkey is the next place on my list of places to go. I'm very interested in the vibrant cosmopolitan city and the cultural diversity and the beautiful scenery that I've heard about there. I love English, and I would be very honoured to teach people in Turkey to speak English to achieve their lifetime goals and aims for which they need to speak English. So doing my CELTA certificate recently at UTS Sydney was the next step for me to broaden my teaching career so that I could achieve and combine my love of teaching and my love of travel. So secondly, my background. I've been a classroom teacher for 20 years in Sydney, in the state government system, in the Catholic system, in the private system. I've worked in performing arts schools with the gifted and talented, and also with students with special needs. In order to do this, I completed 3 degrees. My first was my Bachelor of Education at UNSW Primary, which I taught primary school. Secondly was my graduate diploma in expressive and performing arts, in which I taught art and drama. And thirdly was my Bachelor of Arts Design, in which I taught art, design and photography at secondary level, which I also really enjoyed. Around this time, I also began writing art courses and doing workshops in my local community colleges and cultural centres for adults, which I really enjoyed, and I began thinking about teaching adults. The last couple of years in my temporary capacity as a teacher in Western Sydney schools, I've been given English in addition to my other subjects, and had to find ways for students of lower levels to make English interesting and achievable and enjoyable for them. I've also had ESL students in my mandatory courses in which I have to teach them the subject-specific language in order for them to complete the course content. I recently enjoyed working for EF Language Travel in the winter session, and I'm looking forward to doing summer in January and February with the American International Academy. And I really enjoy the philosophy of these companies, where the learning is transparent and the classroom teaching in the morning is mixed with activities and excursions. And I really enjoyed using my art and drama skills working for these companies as well. And thirdly, classroom management. I've been a teacher of students in the classroom, numbering 20 to 25, for approximately 20 years. I have very good classroom management. I have a very calm manner and a very personable style. I've always had good relationships with my students, and in the subjects I teach, the creative subjects, we use their personal ideas and their views and opinions as starting points for their work. And so I use this as a tool to get to know them. I'm very personable and open and sharing, and I always try to get to know my students as individuals. And I find that if I can do this, I can build their trust and respect, that they will reciprocate and do more for me. Specifically in terms of classroom management, I'm very organised, and I always make sure that my students are enjoying an interesting lesson with enjoyable content that is set at the level correctly for them. I make sure that the expectations are very clear and the lesson aims are understood by the students. I monitor the class to make sure that they are all achieving and engaged. If there are mixed abilities in the class, as there often is, I may employ group work where the students work in groups and play games against each other or work in their group, and the information is elicited via feedback and brainstorming so that the students at a lower level are achieving as well. If I did have a disruptive student, which I sometimes have had, I issue a warning to the student, and I usually try to find out the reason for the misbehaviour, as there is always a reason. It may be that the work level is too hard or too easy for the student, in which case I would adjust it, or it may be that they are sitting near a student that is distracting them, in which case I would relocate them. If this was still not successful, I would sit the student on their own, preferably at the front of the room, and set a task for the class, and then employ a discussion with the student using restorative practice, where I would try to find out from the student what is happening for them, what is causing the trouble, what they are experiencing, what they believe is happening in the class, and how it is affecting the class. Thank you very much for listening to my video, and that's all from me. Bye now.